course, as you all know, Shopko has announced that they are closing their stores nationwide. So it's not just a North Platte problem. Hi, this is North Platte in a nutshell. It is a podcast about North Platte, hence the name. And it is me, Jerome, back again with my co-host,
Ginger.
Hi, and we are joined by Cassie Condon, who is with the Chamber, and you are going to talk to us about the state of retail, shopping, businesses in North Platte, those kinds of things, and what brought this conversation on. Of course, it is a nationwide problem that Shopko's closing. Same thing with the Herbergers, JCPenney's, all the big box stores that we've seen lately closing. And there is a bit of a perception that it's a North Platte problem. It's actually a nationwide problem. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we thought, who better to have on and talk to us about that than Cassie, who deals directly with those kinds of things. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to come on.
Absolutely. So Shopko's closing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
It is. I got this shirt at Shopko.
You know, we shop at Shopko quite a bit. I mean, they actually have some really good clothes.
They do.
It was a great option for North Platte, having home goods and clothing and footwear. I mean, they encompass the whole family, children, men, women, all of it. So very sad.
Well, and I think one of the things you mentioned, footwear, there aren't a whole lot of places, at least for me, and maybe I'm speaking for myself, but buying tennis shoes, if you buy them at Walmart, and I don't mean for this to be like a knock on Walmart thing, but a lot of the tennis shoes that they have don't last long. Whereas the ones at Shopko, you get like New Balance, Skechers, some good name brand shoes at decent prices.
Yeah.
They were always having shoe sales.
Yeah. I mean, there were lots of times when I went in there and got Nikes or Asics or whatever. I mean, they were good shoes, especially for different running patterns that are workout patterns that I was doing at that time.
Right. And then there was the announcement that Payless Shoe Store was going to close, but the Payless in Shopko was going to stay open. Well, that's not happening now. So I think, losing that, like you said, they had so much in there that if people really looked around, they had, it is going to be a hit to the community as far as places to shop.
Oh, I think also jobs too.
Yeah,
jobs
absolutely.
are going to be another thing that we're going to see.
Right.
We saw a lot of employees that were from JCPenney's and Herbergers went over to Shopko. And so that's, another hit to them. And they're personally and their family is now going through this yet again.
Yeah.
Right. So the unfortunate thing is that it is, of course, closing. People are going to lose their jobs. I mean, like the fact that we can't buy decent shoes at decent prices and all that stuff is obviously secondary to, people losing their jobs. So with that happening, where do you guys think, in your opinion, where can they go? Because Walmart has, now that they've gone a lot automated, they have the self-checkouts, they have the pickups, they've kind of cut their workforce as well. Where do these people go?
Yeah.
Because certain people, I'm not saying that being in retail doesn't allow a certain skill set, but these people obviously have had a certain job for a while, some for a very long time. It's not like they're going to go learn HVAC, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a loss to the community for sure on a lot of different levels.
Yeah, I don't know where people are going to be shopping for the different items that they're needing. I mean, really, when we look at that price point of what we're needing, that's taking a huge hit right there in and of itself. So now we do have Walmart, and that is it. We have no really other variety when it comes to, I'm going to say, big box store. And so it's like, what's going to happen? How many of us are now going to start to go out of town to be able to facilitate our needs that we're wanting to have at that point in time?
Right.
So, my question is this: how many opportunities do we have for people who are maybe wanting to be an entrepreneur to come in and maybe pick up that slack a little bit in some areas, to be able to add that shopping into the community that we are so desperately all wanting and needing?
Right. And that is where that question can kind of be jumped over to Cassie in a sense, because you work with businesses here in the community. Anybody who knows you knows that before you start working in the chamber, you still worked with businesses in the community. You've been very active here, especially when it comes to bringing retail and that kind of thing in.
Sure.
So say somebody out there is watching or listening and they have this idea for a small business. Where do they go? What do they do?
Yeah, I'm glad you're taking it there because this is something that is not widely known. It's very important to have a business plan. And a lot of times we will hear from an individual that they want to start a business or they have this great idea, and they usually are really great ideas and would hold up really well. They just haven't got to that step of a business plan. And you really have to go through and fine tune it. And there are two different organizations that us taxpayers are paying for. There's the NBDC that is out here through the college. Free to use. Charlie McPherson will help you plan through and walk through your whole business plan. And then there's also REAP with Nancy Flock, who you may know. She also does business planning assistance, and those are free to anyone who's looking to start up a business. And that is where here at Chamber and DevCo we point you first to, is make sure you have a strong business plan and you've thought through all the process, because it's not easy and it's not for anyone to just start up a business, but there are great ideas out there that can really work, and I know our community would get behind and support.
Well, and speaking of small businesses, there are some locally owned businesses, and I do have a short list. It's 3.5 pages long, 3.25 pages long, but just an idea, because the thing that, and I, you both know this because I told you this before we started filming, and you and I have talked about this before. The thing that drives me nuts, and you see it a lot online when people get on, or you're talking to friends, they say there's nothing here. Oh great, we lost Shopko. Now I have to go to Kearney. Now I have to go out of town. I hate that too, because they say there's nothing here. So here's just, now I will throw in the caveat of this, because some people, I can hear the LOLs and all that already. Some of these that I'm about to mention may be secondhand stores, but our secondhand stores, I've shopped at them. I've got kids, I've gone in there and looked at stuff. They do a really good job, many of them, finding, they don't just throw crap out there, stained shirts and stuff. Yeah. So Goodwill is on the list. There's Brittany's. Let's see here, Town and Country Western Wear, and this has a lot of different kinds of businesses on it, but I'm just going to go down the clothing. And Town and Country Western Wear, Whitetail Screen Print, which is downtown. They're a bike shop, but they also do screen printing. Sports Shop, Big Red, etc. Let's see here. And again, this isn't all the businesses in town, but there's also the Salvation Army. You could go stop there.
What about Mammoth?
Mammoth Clothing Exchange. They have stuff. There's Hirschfeld's. There is Bible Supplies. If you're into that kind of thing, I know they've got some clothes there. You've also got Brown Shoe Fit, speaking of shoes. There's also, what's the one that, Charm Boutique.
Yeah.
Just opened up here recently, downtown.
The Sequin Closet.
Yep.
Yep, the Sequin Closet. There's also Once More with Style. That's been here for a long time. There's also Simply Nifty Finds on the north side of town that is in what used to be the pool hall. They have a lot of clothes in there as well.
A lot of our beauty shops, though, too, also have a lot of little boutique-y items as
Yes.
well. I mean, and really, honestly, okay, let's be real here for a second. When we travel and we go shopping, because that is obviously a huge thing that a lot of people do when we shop, do we want to go to the big box stores? No. No, we do not. We want to go to the places that are going to have the unique items that nobody else is going to have, which is what we call boutiques, which is exactly what we have in this community.
Yeah.
So, where's the problem?
Yeah.
I think the problem is the mentality that for it to be quality, for it to be worth your money, it has to be from a big box store. I think that's what most people think.
That, I don't know. Yeah, I think it is what most people think, but I think it's vastly wrong.
Well, yeah, that's my opinion as well.
Yeah. And I think about like Beyond Envy has their boutique, and there's the one over in Westfield. And you hear people say, well, they can't afford stuff like that, and you have to look at the quality of what you're purchasing. And so that's what I hear a lot, is that they want the big box stores for the more cost-effective or cheaper version, and how long is that piece of clothing or that pair of shoes going to last you if you're not investing in your own wardrobe or your kids' wardrobe? Because I was there. I was the mom and I still am sad about Payless going, because kids' feet grow super fast. So
Yeah.
I'm fine buying a $10 pair of shoes and not putting $60 pair on them. However, I had to when Payless didn't have an option, and I'm shocked. I mean, they will last 4 times longer than that $10 pair of shoes. So, I mean, you got to think about the quality that you're purchasing too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think the thing that it's a short-sighted view, but like you mentioned, some people will say the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, it's so expensive to go shopping down at those boutique stores. How much money are people spending on gas to get to, we'll say Kearney because everybody points at Kearney. How much money does it take in gas? You're going to eat when you're there. Maybe you stop by and buy something that you weren't expecting to buy. You go to another store and you're buying more stuff. How much money are you spending going 100 miles down the road for a purse that you can find right here in town? It blows my mind. And then you'll hear people say that Kearney is booming, and look at how, Kearney has this and Kearney has that. First of all, we can't compare ourselves to Kearney because we're not. Second, yes, of course they are, because you're giving them all of our money, all the tax money, all the money that should be here to help with jobs, to help with taxes, to help keep prices lower. It's all going away. And then, say a business, let's just say Olive Garden, right? Sorry, I'm going to rant. This is it. We've gotten to the point where I'm going to rant. Let's say Olive Garden or Old Navy or any of these other huge stores that people think that once we get one in here, we're going to make it. They start looking at the tax base. They start looking at what people are buying. They do the research.
Yep.
And then they look and go, well, nobody's shopping here. Where's everybody shopping? Kearney. So what do? They take their business 100 miles down the road. And we're sitting here upset because we don't have X, Y, and Z when we're not supporting the ABC that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, sorry, this is a hot button issue for me. This is
Yeah.
off.
How many conversations have you and I had about that exact issue?
Right.
I mean, I can't even count. But we do need to support what we have here because we actually have good businesses here. And what did I post on Facebook the other day? Something about when you help a local business owner, you're not only just helping the big CEOs get richer, you're actually helping a business owner pay for their home, pay for their employees, buy shoes in the local community, just this whole list of things. So by us taking that money away, we are hurting ourselves. So you are not only hurting our community, but your neighbor, in a sense.
Yeah. And being with the chamber, you know, obviously, you may not know every single business, and you may not be able to speak to certain businesses that are looking to move here.
Sure.
But have you kind of seen, I mean, maybe you can tell us, have you seen that kind of an impact with businesses maybe wanting to move here, that they look and they go, well, nobody's buying whatever it is?
Absolutely. So you hit it right on. They're all going to do their own individual studies and find out if there's a good market here. One of the biggest struggles for us is convincing them that we're more than a 25-minute drive time, which is something that I had touched on before and you probably read about. But typically a retailer, and when you say retailer, you're not only talking apparel, you're talking fast food and restaurants as well. So retailers will look at a 25-minute daytime drive time population. So they're basing their studies off of 25 minutes. And our population within 25 minutes is only 27,000 people. And if you're a large retailer and you're looking and you could go somewhere an hour down the road and that population quadruples, that tends to hurt us. So there's different ways that we are kind of working through those kinks, and we're showing them that here in western Nebraska, we drive more than 25 minutes.
Right.
I mean, you have to for a large part of our demographic. So that's one thing we are working around, and when we're trying to reach out to different retailers and show them, 80 minute to 90 minute is a true demographic of our trade market.
So when you tell them that, what are their responses to that?
Well, I'd love to get a response, period.
Oh. Yeah, that'd be nice.
The biggest problem now is getting them to come back to us. I just keep shooting them information. But I think it'll be, when I go in May, I'm going to the Recon convention. So trying to get face-to-face with these big retailers and tell them that. I think it'll be the communication of that people do drive that far. It's a mentality that, no, if you're from a bigger city, you only have to drive 20, 30 minutes to whatever store you want, and that's great. But that's just not how it is in Midwest Nebraska. So it'll be interesting, but I'm gonna fight that fight.
Well, and like you said, there's people, I know there are people in Curtis who drive here for things.
Absolutely.
There are people, in Brady, Maxwell, Stapleton, all those areas. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is the allure for those smaller towns where it's, X amount of miles here to North Platte, but it's just this little bit further over here to this other place.
Sure.
What do you think, again, being somebody who works in this kind of thing every day, what do you think would help keep people from going over here and come here?
I think we gotta
with the state that at the current state that we're in now.
Sure. It's not just that one, like you mentioned. We can't just get an Olive Garden and think a problem is fixed. It's getting the more options. We obviously have a lot more to fill and a lot more spaces now. So focusing on the opportunity is a large part of my communication with these retailers. The large opportunity that we have to not only get one, but get several and make our community a draw again. There are certain things that have come out with our work with Buxton that have been kind of surprising, but maybe shouldn't be surprising. We are a really good trade hub for motor vehicle sales. I didn't realize that not only are we meeting our consumers' population demand, we're actually driving them in to the tune of over 50%. So we are driving people into our community for motor vehicle sales. That's something we're doing right, and that means that leakage and surplus analysis, we're going above and beyond, which isn't a bad thing. It means we're driving them in.
Right.
That and building materials. So having Menards and Blodor and Tractor Supply and Orscheln's, having all of them here make us a trade center. Furniture is another one. Swans and Ashley, like we were talking about earlier, that makes us a trade center. Bruce's. So
Right.
Those communities that are further out are coming here because we have 4 great options for them to look at all in one day. We need to start filling in the niches of the other things as well.
Well, I know for a fact, my grandmother-in-law and her husband, they're doing some remodeling on their house. When they get materials, when they go to get their vanity, that kind of stuff, they drive from McCook, where they live, to Menards. And I think they have a do-it center there, but they really don't have anything in McCook. So, even as far away as 75 miles.
Yeah.
You have those people that are driving up here for that kind of thing. So, what do you think is a good way to get the word out to, communities around us, or even within this community, to let people know, hey, this is what we already have. You need to, if you're looking for this, we have it. If you're looking for this, we have it.
Yeah.
Is there a plan maybe to put that kind of word out, or are you working on anything like, I don't want to say an ad campaign, but essentially, for lack of a better term, to let people know?
Yeah, I think that's a great plan. I don't know that it's anything here that has been discussed. Certainly not on the Chamber DevCo level, but this is all information that we're gathering through our work with Buxton that I've just recently come to knowledge with in the last few months. So I think it's a great message to be sent out there, and it goes in line with that spreading positivity. We can't always focus on the negativity, and we have to be louder than the negativity. And those things, those 3 entities that's huge for North Platte. We can always say, yeah, we have the great industry with the Union Pacific Railroad, and we have a phenomenal healthcare center. What else are we focusing on? So definitely a great plan. And social media, you guys know.
Yeah.
Right.
It helps with that. And so there's definitely venues to have that voice outside of costing anything,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know here we're gonna kind of segue here a little bit, so, because it kind of does all fit in here, and I think this is the big stores will tell us this is a huge reason as to why they are closing, is online shopping. How do we? What is happening in that realm? I guess I could say is I don't even know how to form that question. Is how do we need to watch for that, but yet still be able to pull people in?
Yeah, and I think I'm not going to discount and say online was not a problem. Online is definitely a problem, and with these retailers' downfall, I think a lot of them have made poor decisions in the last decade, corporate-wise, nothing North Platte-wise, corporate-wise, that have caused the Herbergers and the Shopkos and the Payless to go belly under. And it's nothing we can control on a local level. I think if you would have talked to Herberger's managers and Shopko managers, our stores did phenomenal. And from my background in the mall, I know what Herberger's did in sales, and they had to be one of the top in the company. So our community supported them, and that's probably what makes it even more so hard. So online is definitely an issue. I think combating that is going to be a beast that no one wants to take on, other than saying, yes, you shouldn't be doing it. It sucks. The online sales tax now, Amazon, when they will start paying in, I hope they can get that figured out and how that's going to work into the Nebraska budget. Yeah.
It, usually, like, you can see why I'm like, I don't even know how to ask a question about this, because it is such an issue.
Yep.
I mean, how many times do all of us go, well, I need a new pair of shoes, let's go on Amazon.
Well, and it's convenient. If you're sitting at home at 11 o'clock, you're not falling asleep, you open your phone, Facebook shows you an ad, it's right there, it's in your face constant. Some of our locally owned stores, they don't have the budget to be constantly in your face all the time.
Right.
And so it's a bigger beast than any one person or one company can ever take on. But so yes, online shopping is definitely to their demise. But I would also add that a quick, close second would be some of the decisions they made and where they put their marketing dollars or where they focus some of their brands within those stores also helped bring them down.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't. And obviously, online shopping isn't going anywhere.
Right.
I mean, even locally, you can get online, you can order your groceries. I've done it. I don't know if you two have, but I have.
Every time.
Yeah, and the position I'm in, and a lot of people out there are probably in the same way. I got 3 kids; they're young. Sometimes you don't want to. No, we can't have that. Put that down. You just want to have somebody wheel your stuff out, throw it in your trunk, and go.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a convenience there, but there are certain things, in my opinion, like clothes. I got to try on clothes before I buy.
I need to touch it.
Yeah.
I need to feel it.
I'll take risks on clothes. I will, especially when I'm going on Amazon. I will take those risks and then I will send it back. I mean, a very good friend of yours and I's, she is on Amazon wardrobe. Every time she orders stuff, it's like just a barrage of packages, and she's like, nope, don't like that one, send it back. Nope, like that one, yep, like that one. I mean, we're all, I don't know.
We're all guilty of shopping online.
We are, but
No.
I think, like, when it comes to clothes, it could be changing that whole thing where I need to touch it, whereas it's getting so much easier just to send it back.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to touch it. We can touch it, but we can send it back.
Well, and that's where I think, we're seeing, that's where I think a rise personally, and I know this probably goes against all sorts of studies, and there's probably somebody out there, watching or listening who's just like, well, studies show, but I don't care. I don't give a shit. For me, online shopping, if I'm going to Amazon buying that kind of stuff, that's fine. But I personally, that's my way of getting out of the house sometimes. Like, we need to, get the hell out of the house, get a little sun, get some air, go grab lunch, go get those shoes I need to get, go return this. I think the more time we're spending, and clearly this is, people are hearing about this on Facebook and watching it on YouTube and probably on their phones, so this is counter to what we're doing. But I think more people need to experience that kind of stuff. They need to get out and do things.
They need the social scene.
Yeah.
That's what shopping is to me, is seeing the people in the stores and talking to them. And I saw them at Walmart, or I saw them at a kid's ball game, or that's what supporting your community is really about. You're not supporting your purchase of this shirt. You're supporting someone's dream of owning a business and supporting their family and their kid going to school. And
right. Well, and living in a community like we live in, I've lived in big cities and small towns and all in between. You go to the city, you go with your friends to the mall, it's your thing. Like, I'm old enough to remember, all of us, our moms dropping us off, 6 of us running into the mall and going and shopping.
Oh, yeah.
And now, though, there's still that bit of going to the store, even if it is Walmart or a local place, and you run into that person. You say, oh, hey, what have you been up to? I haven't talked to you in a while. There's that social interaction that a lot of people, I think, were missing.
But how many times? Because, everybody's like, I hate Walmart. Why do you hate Walmart? Because I see people. I have to talk to people. Really?
maybe don't wear your pajama pants to Walmart then.
Right? One time I was
Did
in
I
Walmart.
say that loud enough? Maybe I didn't.
Yeah. No, one time I was in Walmart, and it was years ago, and I was like, I have to get a picture for the internet. It was one of those moments. And it was like,
The internet needs to see this.
yes, it was a literal fox hunt. This kid was wearing, I don't know if he was a furry, I don't know if he was just goofing around, I don't know. He had a hat on with one of those headbands with fox ears and a tail hanging off of his belt. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, so I grabbed my phone and I'm trying to be subtle, me being subtle in Walmart, and like everywhere he went, I was just like a couple steps behind, like with my phone, like, and I could never get him in frame. And every time I went and the phone got done autofocusing, he'd be gone again. It was like a literal fox hunt through the store. My wife's in the checkout aisle, and I keep looking at her, and she's like, "Did you get the picture?" And I'm like, "Not yet." She goes, "Get back here." I'm like, "No," and I'm just that to me. You know, that's what I like going to Walmart for. Like if you want
after midnight.
yeah, if you want to come in your pajama pants, please.
Jerome may be taking pictures of them.
I might. I don't know. I'm weird. See, and I hate the reasons I hate Walmart. We can maybe go around and talk about the reasons we hate Walmart. Well, I shop at Walmart probably more than I should. It's a one-stop shop for groceries. You can get clothes. You can get, lube. I mean, whatever you want to for your car and yourself. I'm sorry, you can. It's possible. Sorry, this is.
I'm not shaking my head at all to this conversation.
We should have warned you that sometimes Jerome goes off on a tangent. You can get clearance stuff. You can get gardening supplies, Christmas stuff. I mean, you basically
In
July. They found a way to make it where the mall that used to be all these stores are now combined into one. And it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad business model.
No, and I will say our Walmart does a hell of a good job of actually catering to what our community needs.
Yes.
Okay. So when Staples went out, they got a whole hell of a lot more of the supplies that you would typically need for an office or kids going to school or whatever. They've done very, very good at catering to our community and being able to pick up some of the slack that, unfortunately we're losing.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they've done a good job.
The thing I dislike about it is that the self-checkout thing, I'll use it because it seems to be your only option some days.
Yeah.
I would rather have somebody ringing up my stuff because the double ring, because I've done it before. I've double rang, gotta wait for the person who's helping 3 other people in front of you. Or there's times, I don't know if this has happened to you, you're not even scanning anything that needs an ID or something. It just stops and somebody has to come over and verify that you just scanned the thing you scanned.
Yeah.
That to me is a little annoying, but I deal with it because I deal with it.
Yeah.
But I would like to see more options for other, I don't mind Walmart clothes, but I like
No, they
different
are
stuff.
on point. I will say they are on point when it comes to athletic wear. I mean, on point. I bought 2 pairs of leggings today from Walmart. I have no shame in saying it.
I have no shame shopping at Walmart either. I find stuff a lot.
Heck yeah!
And my kids go to private school here, and so they carry the uniforms there. And my boys their jeans that they buy, they have the khaki jean, will last longer than anything I've ever bought at Children's Place or Old Navy. They last longer and cost less. So
Right.
I'm all for Walmart clothes shopping.
My favorite pair of jeans right now I'm wearing, I bought at Walmart.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing them right now. Like I say, I got this shirt at Shopko. But I'm certainly, I'm not going to shopping at the Buckle. You know what I mean? Because they don't have anything that's fitting me there since 1998. I'm being
Well, now,
honest.
come on. When have you last checked?
When have I last checked the Buckle? Honestly, it was 1996-ish. I'm dating myself a little bit. Me and some friends, I was going to high school in Imperial. We drove to McCook. And our tradition, because we always did it around payday, we would go down there. We would spend the day going shopping. Because, Imperial is different now. But if you want to talk about a town that didn't really have anything, especially for younger people, Imperial in the mid-90s. For real. So we would go to McCook. Right? Or sometimes Ogallala, but mostly McCook. Because they had a Buckle. All my little tiny skinny friends went in the Buckle and bought stuff. There was one, and I would always look for a brand new shirt there, and they never had anything that fit me, because I'm a bigger, I know you can't tell by watching the video, but I'm a bigger guy. And there was one time, and it was around 1996-ish, I was about 17 or so. I walked in. The girl who was helping us, she said, no offense. And she was being very nice. She wasn't being like, no offense, but she just said, no offense, but I know you're always looking for shirts when you're here. And by that point, I was in a 2X. And she goes, honestly, I don't think we'll ever really carry clothes that are going to fit your size.
Oh.
Because they capped it XL. Mm-hmm. It may have changed.
It has.
But I'm also not going to have rhinestones on my ass. And I know that's a thing.
It is.
In men's jeans.
Not for most men, but for some. My husband is the same way. He will not wear rhinestones. He doesn't even want colored stitching.
Nope.
Yeah.
And nothing. And that's great because I don't want to see him in those. So, and they have other options. So, and this is going to be my mall background. And
Right.
I was there for 17 years. So, of course, there's still a piece of my heart. I never shopped the Buckle either because I was Vanity Breen when I was at Vanity for 9 years. And they were a lower price point and an employee discount on top of that. I was like, I can't afford the Buckle. Well, after I quit working at Vanity and I actually went in, I was like, oh, their price points have came down since I had thought of them. So, I mean, they do have. And God bless my 9-year-old now thinks he needs to go in there for shirts. He's only 9, but he found Hurley shirts in there and they're $18. Not off of that little boy, and he thinks he's getting pampered, and it's great. There's also jeans in there for him that are the same price at Town and Country. And I mean, I would support anyone in our local community that has something that is within our price range. So, clothes for myself, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I set a price limit for myself when I go in there. I have a hard time spending more than $80 on a pair of jeans, and that I say that with a voice shaking a little bit, but they have came down a little bit in prices, and there are other size options. So I'll throw that in there for positivity.
All right. Well, and again, I haven't checked it out, but like they would go to the Buckle, and then as soon as we got done, we would just go next door or across the street to Walmart, and I would go get my T-shirt. You know what I mean, or my shirt that I was going to wear that night.
Sure.
While we went and did a Bible study, helped the homeless, got cats out of trees. I mean, when you're 17 and you have to drive to McCook to go shopping, you're there to do good things.
Right.
Anyway, but I guess the point I'm getting at is that there are certain people in our community that certain stores don't carry what they need size-wise. Mm-hmm. It would be nice if they did, but again, that's when you're running into either shopping online or going out of town to try and find that.
Again, I'll put it in at that point. If there is a size that, isn't being catered to, somebody has a hell of an opportunity to become an entrepreneur in this community and be able to serve a demographic that is in need of something.
Well, and this is, I talked to you about this and I mentioned it to Cassie before filming. We've got Hirschfeld's. They're a great clothing store downtown. We do have Christopher and Banks in the mall, I believe is still there. Mm-hmm. The Buckle has some men's clothes, that kind of stuff. We have a lot of boutiques in town, and I don't know if boutique is the right word for men, but I'm going to have to use it for lack of a better term. We have a lot of boutiques in town that cater to women. There's the Britneys, there's, as I mentioned before, the Simply Nifty Finds have a lot of women's clothes in there. A lot of the, as you said, the beauty salons have women's stuff. I personally, I think it would be nice to see a men's boutique, so to speak, that has some of those T-shirts in it and jeans and just kind of catered towards men. Because I think a lot of men around here, and maybe I'm speaking for myself only, maybe have issues finding certain clothes that they'd like to wear. Now that I know the Buckle has come down a price point and up in some sizes, still not going to wear the Florida Georgia Line starter pack, but I might go check them out. But again, if I'm not finding what I can find there in my size, I'm heading over to Walmart.
See, my husband is in the same situation too, because he's not a little guy by any means. And he can find stuff at Walmart, could sometimes find stuff at Shopko, but he's not going to go into Buckle, and he's not going to go into any of the other men's stores here in town because they literally don't have his size. So we have to go outside of town to be able to find his stuff. we have to shop at Cabela's and whatever else store we go into whenever we go to Denver or Wyoming. I mean, I think somebody does have an opportunity to bring in some kind of a men's, for lack of a better term, boutique that can really serve a wide range of sizes that are needed for men. I mean, somebody has an opportunity here.
Absolutely. And I think a good place to put that would be downtown.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of open storefronts down there, but during the renovation, I've noticed that a lot of buildings, especially the interiors, are being updated
Yep.
and fixed, and for that purpose.
And a very caring community. I mean, the business owners that are down there now want nothing but the best for North Platte as a whole. And I think I agree with that. The mall and Westfield, all of them want nothing but the best, and they're not going to be against anyone going into any one certain spot, because what's good for downtown is good for North Platte as a whole. What's good for the mall is down North Platte as a whole. So.
And what I see, honestly, is them referring people to places, too. So
Yeah.
if you can't find it at the mall, have you tried Westfields? Or have you tried downtown? Or have you tried something? They're trying to help the person and actually spread that business around as much as they can.
Right. So, and I guess that's kind of interesting what you said is the building owners downtown, the business owners downtown, business owners in town in general want to see not only themselves succeed, but their neighbors succeed.
Yep.
Because if that person's still shopping there, they're going to go over here too. And I mean,
Yep.
the more foot traffic you get, the better things are. So I think, I mean, it stands to say, especially with some of the comments you see online, especially around times when a store closes, like a Shopko. Generally, it's not Defco's fault. It's not the city's fault. You always see people pointing the finger at, well, the city needs to do this, or why would the city do that? It's not their fault. It's ours for not shopping at these places and not going to these places.
Right. Aside from the national retailers that we can't control.
Exactly, like Shopko. So yeah,
Which I always laugh
aside
when
from
it's
us.
it's a city fault or a
Yeah.
chamber fault for a national retailer going down. I didn't know that we had that much
Well, I
control
mean,
over the world.
I was
But
like, dang.
little old North Platte, like we put a foot in the ass of major retail every week. You know, yeah. I always find that funny when a major chain store closes and you read the article, you watch the news, all that, and it even says nationwide, and everybody's just like, oh well, it's a North Platte thing. It's an everywhere thing.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
North Platte, as you mentioned earlier with her burgers, and I think Shopko here was one of the top ones in the state. And when they did their first round of cuts of stores,
Yeah.
they left North Platte's open because it did such good business. But now they're like, we can't, I mean, it's bad business if you can't keep your head above water.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, hearing from somebody from the chamber, anybody out there who thinks that there's some evil organization of city leaders and community leaders that is trying to drag this place down, it's just not true.
No. No.
No, it's not.
No. Another thing to kind of bring up, and it kind of goes in line with what North Platte needs, so to speak. A lot of hotels are going up. Hotels have become the new banks in North Platte. A lot of people are getting pissed about that.
Which is funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean
No,
to
go
cut you
ahead, go
off.
ahead.
Because it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a very good thing that these hotels are going up. It means more opportunity for people to stop and stay and us to get out there in front of them of what else we have to offer. We are a stopping point between Omaha and Denver, and I still get phone calls here all the time at the chamber of people that stop here every year or every 3 months or every 6 months, and our hotels are still filling up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And not when it storms, not when the interstate closes. They're still filling up.
There's a reason why the hotels were at such a high price point. It's supply and demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have enough rooms to actually be able to bring that cost down.
Yeah.
So people were willing to spend $189 a night. They had to.
Yeah,
Because
they
they
had
wanted
to.
to go down to Kearney and they didn't want to. They wanted to stay here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact that we are having more hotels is a good thing. Just simply look at the occupancy tax that is coming in. So not only does the county get that, but also the Golden Spike Tower does get some of that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so you also have to look at what those visitors are doing when they're here as well. Okay? So let's say they're staying at the Hampton Inn. They're probably going to go to Dunkin' Donuts or Perkins, or they're going to venture over to the Visitors Bureau and ask where else is a local place. You have no idea how many times that happens. No idea. They want a local place to go. Okay, so guess where they're going then? the Lincoln Highway Diner, or what used to be Hobbies, or somewhere like that. They are going out. They are coming. That money is filtering in from the travelers. It is a huge business here in North Platte and a huge money maker for the county.
Yep.
Well, and that's why so many are going up. I mean, we around Christmas time, the Flat Rock Roller Derby team had their Christmas party, and I do announce for them, so I was invited. And at the beginning of the party, they had a scavenger hunt, and I think you got like a point for every out-of-state license plate you took a picture of. I don't know about other teams, but the team I was on, our route kind of took us by the hotels. And no kidding, I mean, we snapped pictures, and you get extra points for like Hawaii or Alaska. You know what I mean?
This was Megan's idea.
Right, yes, it was.
She stole it from us from our Frontier Days thing.
Right, but
Maybe she's involved in it.
Colorado, Jersey, New York, the surrounding states, obviously. You got some from California, Nevada. I mean,
Texas.
Yeah,
That's usually one that you see here all the time.
seemed like every other plate was another state, and the ones that weren't from out of state weren't 15 county plates. They were from other places that maybe they're driving from Lincoln to Denver and they decided we're going to stop and spend the night, got off work, or whatever. So there is a need for it. So it's not a thing where the point I'm getting at is, and you can back this up obviously, the businesses that do open here, like hotels, like that kind of stuff, there's obviously a need for it. It's not just arbitrarily like, what can we do to piss off the populace today?
No.
Throw up a hotel.
It's
What the-
needed.
Yeah,
it's
it is needed.
And it's more jobs. Going back
Yes.
to what we need to fulfill in our community. We need more quality jobs, and those are quality jobs. You're gonna need, you throw up a hotel, you're gonna need a general manager and a front desk manager and a room keep. How many room keepers and a room keeper manager? I mean, just all of that maintenance. I mean,
Right.
those are good things.
Well, and it also secures the jobs of, like you said, somebody goes down to Perkins, they need those servers, they need those cooks, they need the hostess, and
Yeah.
all of those businesses there. So that keeps people in a job. And that's also the reason why, when some people, and you don't really hear a lot of people lamenting the opening of a fast food restaurant, which, I mean, they'll bitch because Ashley Furniture opens, but Hardee's opens, and they're just like, oh.
But I will not understand Raising Cane's. I'm sorry. I don't get that one.
I call them the devil fingers in my house. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. I'm not going to say I hate them. If it was the last meal on her,
yesterday. I like it. I'm a fan. I like the bread.
The bread is good.
The bread's
I would
pretty
say
good.
that, but I like cake bread. Really.
yeah, I mean bread is good though. But the point I was when those hotels go up, I mean, again, you said we're an interstate stop. Even if people aren't staying here, they might be swinging in to get something to eat.
Yeah.
And that's why you have your Hardee's or Cane's and all that stuff, and it's all by the interstate. But of course, the people that live here, another round. If you haven't eaten out there, I don't know what the hell you were doing with your life, because that place is outstanding.
It is. Okay, side. Let's go over here for a second, because we do that. I love their menu, and they're constantly revising it too. If you want food that has complexity to it and different flavors, they have it.
Yes.
It is. I will put that up against, and I've eaten at a lot of places all around the country, and I usually want unique, good dining, and they have it. They stack up with some of the best restaurants I've ever eaten at. I mean, they stack up against it. I mean, yes, go there if you haven't.
Lincoln Highway Diner is good if you're
Yes.
if you're looking for diner food. Back when they were open, Mallory's was really good. I like Mallory's. R&R Eclectic Eats is outstanding.
Loaded gyro fries, gyro fries, whatever. The loaded fries are delicious.
That is one place I have not eaten yet.
Oh, it's so good. That's a date night place
You
for
gotta
us.
go.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I guess I know where we're going.
You got it. It's really good.
good.
It's really, really good. But there's so many good things here that, again, the point, I guess, overall, the theme of this is there are a lot of things in our community.
Okay, let's go Olive Garden. Okay. Luigi's.
Italian McDonald's.
Luigi's.
Yep.
Oh, their raviolis with the pink sauce. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Tortellini Sicilian is my jam. Anytime we go, 9 times out of 10, that is what I'm ordering, is the tortellini Sicilian. It is so gosh darn good.
I want the pink sauce with the raviolis every time.
Through the meat lovers pizza, which is funny because
Yeah.
we do have other pizza options, but usually I have to split it with a 7-year-old, so that's the route I go.
Yeah, and that's another good place though. And the thing, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of food places they're getting their stuff from Cashaway Distributing, regardless of what kind of business it is. But some of these places, I know Rick out at Another Round prides himself on this. Luigi's does this. They use fresh ingredients. They are back there making the food. They're not just opening a bag for the most part. I mean, sometimes this happens, but they're not just throwing stuff in the fryer and frying it and throwing it out there. They're actually back there cooking and making the food by hand.
That's what I appreciate, and that's what I like. And that's why we go out to Another Round so much, is because of that. I don't want to go somewhere that's just like opening up stuff and throwing it in the fryer.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that is Olive Garden. It's people like, no, God dang it, we don't need an Olive Garden. We don't need an Olive Garden. We don't need a Red Lobster. Where the hell do you think they're pulling that fresh fish out of? The South Fork or the North Fork of the North Platte River? Neither. Lobsters are not indigenous to Nebraska.
What are your thoughts on Old Navy?
Clothes are overrated. Honestly, maybe I shouldn't say they're overrated. I did have a pair of boxers from there that I know we get personal, but whatever. I did have a
You
pair
already
of
talked
boxers.
about lube, so what the hell?
For your car, I was talking about.
That's not what you said.
I did say
Did
for your
you
car.
not say?
I did say for your car or yourself.
Exactly.
So, anywho, and again, Stoneface over here, like, are you sure you're going to bring thing? Which, by the way, also leads me to another business called Dr. John's.
Oh dear.
That you can get stuff in. They have clothes. Doesn't cover much. You're not going to wear it on a winter night out, but a winter night in. Anyway.
I have a comment, but I'm not going to say it.
Anyhow. I prefer mine with tassels. The point is, where were we going with this? What the hell? Where were we? Food, Olive Garden, Old Navy. I have a pair of boxers from Old Navy.
Really? I went out?
Lasted me for a really, really long time. But other than that, I mean, their shirts aren't any better than... In me, maybe I'm not picky, but their t-shirts aren't any better than the ones I can buy at Walmart. Or that I could get at Shopko. Or that I could get anywhere else. You know what I mean? Their jeans don't fit necessarily better or worse than any of the other ones that I can buy at other places. So big box doesn't always mean quality. And by that same token, big box doesn't always mean crap either. I think that people, though, need to stop with the thought that there is nothing here when there is... I mean, we've just mentioned a ton of businesses. There is clearly, and that's just retail, there is clearly so much here if somebody just stopped for a moment, got their negative glasses off, took a look around, they would see that there's a ton of stuff here to shop at, to eat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is just the point I'm getting at. That lube, which you can get at Dr. John's and at Walmart. I'm not saying it's by the pharmacy. I don't know where it is. I'm just saying, by the pharmacy. You search for it from there. You go to the pharmacy, you go up there and be like, lube. Like, you need a refill of prescription? Lube.
Okay.
Lube.
So we're giving you some very good insight on Jerome here right now.
No, you're not. Yes, you are, but no, you're not. It could have been that I walked by it thinking that that's where I'd find the razors and just happened to look over and I'm like, oh my God, KY.
Good to know.
Yeah, like good to know that that's there.
In case somebody comes and asks.
In case somebody comes to ask.
There you go.
You never know when somebody's going to walk up to you on the street and go, do you know where I can get some Astroglide? Right? You never know. That could happen. I could do that to you. I could do that to and I might just do that tomorrow. Just walk up to somebody and be like, you know where brother could get some Astroglide? Just see what people say. That should be a t-shirt. If we ever get this podcast off the ground to the point where we need t-shirts, we should make one that just...
shirt?
I want one that says, where can a brother get some Astroglide?
I wonder if we can have Whitetail just make you one.
See, that's okay.
Whitetail would. I mean, they make... Let's change that subject. They will...
Thank you.
They will make... There are several options within North Platte that will bid at your request. I can't even talk.
Okay. To reel this back in, Whitetail Cycle Sport, and Screen Brand.
Cassie is never going to come on this again. Ever.
Ever!
Because you started talking about lube and Dr. John's.
You brought it up! The second
You brought
time.
it up the first time.
You could have left it where it was. Cycle Sport, Screen Brand, Willow Creek Embroidery is another one. They not only do, clearly they will do like a business if a business needs t-shirts printed up and that kind of stuff. But as you were talking about, custom jobs.
Yeah.
Or like if you have a small, 4-person cornhole team, I can't even sorry, beanbag toss team. I can't believe they call it cornhole. God, you're never coming on again. This has been Cassie Condon, ladies and gentlemen.
I think she's been a really good sport.
Yeah, sorry. We this is only our second time. We will get better or worse. But they can do. That's another example of supporting local business, money coming back in the community, and getting what you want,
Yep.
and not having to go online for it.
Yeah. And they're very reasonably priced too. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to spend, honestly, for a 4 set of shirts, you're going to spend $50, $60.
Mm-hmm.
You would spend that or less at Whitetail.
Well, and with shipping and handling, especially if you're going outside, there's additional cost there. Whereas you can walk in. I can't speak to Whitetail because I haven't yet talked to them about making me a shirt, but I'm going to.
No.
But I did go to Willow Creek Embroidery back when I worked at the radio station, and I was going to have them embroider the radio station logo on a shirt that I had purchased. It just wouldn't have come back in time, so I didn't get it done. But the point is, they were affordable. They were perfectly fine with me bringing in my own shirt. That actually reduced the cost, because then it's just for the embroidery. So, I mean, there are options out there. So what you're looking for could be right here in your own backyard. It's just people need to open their eyes to that.
Yeah. I have shirts made at the Sequin Closet and Windy Knoll all the time. I mean, I'm the one that likes the weird sayings, losing my mind one kid at a time, that sort of thing. I'm over winter,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. But yeah, a lot of great options.
Yeah. So custom work, or if you have a business or something like that. So there's another option where people may think they have to go out of town for that kind of thing, or go online when they don't have to. They can support somebody in their own community.
Exactly.
Or like Sports Shop on your list.
Yes.
They make how many different teams jerseys,
Oh, God, yeah.
and we continuously go to ask them for fundraisers and events and support this team and support that. Yeah, you're gonna go down the road and shop at Shields.
Yeah. Well, and that's something else that I think is a good point that you brought up. There's a lot of businesses. I mean, North Platte has no shortage for a town of its size, and you said the 25-minute drive is like 27,000,
Yep.
which isn't huge by any means. It's not Omaha, obviously. But for a town of this size, there are a lot of organizations here that get funding from events, and it seems like there are always businesses supporting that. This Big Red Sports Shop is supporting stuff. Prophet Harmon, the tattoo artist downtown, and what is it? Inkology, right? Or no, Red Cloud. I apologize. Red Cloud supports stuff. You've got Nebraska Land National Bank. Obviously, they support a lot of stuff. Landscaping companies, construction companies, and we're not talking about big businesses here. We're talking about smaller, family-owned and operated businesses that are giving back to the community. The only way they're still able to do that is if the community gives back to them. It's a circle of life kind of symbiotic relationship.
Yep.
So.
And we're not saying never, ever, ever shop outside of North Platte.
Right.
Just look North Platte first.
Yeah.
Try North Platte
And
first.
stop saying there's nothing here, because obviously there is.
Ton of stuff here.
So much.
So much stuff. And even if you're going outside of retail, there's landscaping companies. Like you said, buying a car, there are car dealerships everywhere here in this town. I mean, any which way you drive, you're going to run into 3 or 4 car dealerships, new and used. There's places to eat. There's places to, get your hair done. I've heard. I don't know. So I think that it's important. And appliances, furniture. You got Carl's. You've got the Sears Home Store. You've got your rent-to-own places here in town as well. I think that people. I think there's a lot of folks that live here that don't actually realize what they've got.
Or we take it for granted.
Yes, or you take it for granted.
I think it's very easy for us to do that when you live in a community, or even just in your own personal life. You take things for granted that are right in front of you and have always been right there. And I think that's a lot of times what is happening here.
Right. Perfect example of that is Mallory's.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have went there more, and now it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows if somebody's going to open it up and it's going to be similar, or if it's going to be completely different, or if they're going to rip out all the restaurant stuff and put in a different kind of business there. But it was a good locally owned, operated place to eat, place to get a drink, and I wish I would have patronized it more, honestly. Now it's like that Cinderella song, don't know what you got till it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good song.
I
Cinderella.
really want a chicken panini sandwich now from there.
Oh my gosh.
The peppers.
They were the only place in town I could find a decent meatball sub that wasn't Subway. Nothing against Subway. But you know what I mean, like the handmade. Oh,
The one I liked was Gracie Mae's.
Yes.
Gracie Mae's was awesome.
I loved that one.
Yeah.
That's the one I miss a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
There is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes.
A bakery, local owned sweet shop.
Mm-hmm. That also did lunches, soups and sandwiches,
Yeah,
or half
Great
sandwiches.
lunches.
They were
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Now we're all going to sit here and talk about the businesses that are gone that we wish were
No,
still
we're not,
here.
because we're talking
No.
positivity.
Yeah,
But
positivity.
opportunities.
Yeah, but really though, there are those opportunities. I know one lady for sure, and she does it out of her home. I don't know if she'd ever want to branch out and get a storefront that bakes, and she kicks ass at baking. If her business ever got to a point where she needed to expand and go somewhere because she had to have a staff, that's a hole that could be filled by a local person. The men's boutique thing, that's a hole that could be filled. Another restaurant or bar downtown. I know one that's open. It's sitting down there if anybody wants to try it. But I think the important thing, like you said at the beginning, starting a business is not easy.
No.
So,
And it's not for everyone.
right.
I mean,
It's stressful.
it's not. It wouldn't be for me. Exactly. The
It
stress
is-
of yep
It is so stressful.
takes a very strong person.
Yes. I mean, you know your family,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's stressful.
It is. If you want a sign, you can get that here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big or small. Tall, short or tall. They do them all. I don't know if that's their slogan. Maybe that's still somebody's slogan. You can have that one for free.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, I just think that there is so much potential in this town, not only with what we have, but what we could have. I just would love for people to take advantage of that.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
So if, just to remind people, if they're still with us,
Cassie would have left if she could have.
sorry. Rule one of podcasting, to know your guests off air. But how do you do that? How do you walk up like, hey, thanks for being on. What are your feelings on lube? Because it might go there. You can't.
Again, we're back on this.
You brought it up the second time. Look, okay. The free services in town that you had mentioned.
Yeah.
I want to get those mentioned again, just in case anybody's sitting there and hearing this and getting inspired and they're like, where do I start again?
REAP is with Nancy Flock, and I would Rural Enterprise Assistance Program, REAP. And then the Nebraska Business Center Department out at the college, Charlie McPherson handles that. He actually is McCook and North Platte, but those are free services that are paid for through tax dollars through the Nebraska system. So it's not like your tax dollars are literally feeding this person at home, but these are programs that are made to assist small businesses and startup businesses with their business plan.
Okay. Then once they have a business plan,
Once they have a business plan, it's about finding the right location, which those are the things you identify in the business plan. There's other programs out there that I know are hot buttons in our community, such as TIF and Quality Growth Funds. But those are things that we administer here in the Chamber and DevCo office, and that we go through and help you through that process. It's a very public process. So again, it takes that very strong individual who's going to be able to put their financials out in front of this community and in front of City Council and go through that. But those are two programs that really work for economic development incentives in our community.
all right. And then from there, advertising, Facebook, get the word out, tell your friends, tell us, you know, and I mean, for sure, it can be done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. So if somebody wants to get a hold of the chamber, obviously they can come in.
Yep.
What are some other ways that they can get a hold of you?
You can always reach out via phone or email. My email's Cassie@nparea.com, and I'm willing to send whoever that information. It's also available on our website, which is nparea.com. The chamber's phone number is 308-532-4966. Just reach out. We're willing to talk to anyone and help guide you on the way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Cassie, sorry that we got a little weird. But thank you so much for taking the time for letting us come in and talk to you about this issue that's obviously right now at the forefront of our community with the closing of one store, but who knows, maybe the opening of many more.
I will be okay. Our community will be okay. We will make it through this. Something else will come in. People will stand up and do something. So.
Right. Well, and then the people are like, it's going to be a ghost town in 10 years. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. There's enough stuff here. Even if it is a town full of hotels, it's still going to be here.
And
North Platte's
banks.
not getting,
Don't forget the banks.
and banks, and Raising Cane's, and their special sauce, and Hardee's, but not an Olive Garden. I will protest that stuff like I'm from Westboro Baptist. I will be out at that construction site with a sign. We do not need Italian McDonald's in this town. Not at all. It's just my opinion, though.
Okay.
All right. Well, Cassie, thank you so much for joining us. This has been
She's literally thinking I'm never coming back on.
No.
No.
You're okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, hopefully we'll see Cassie again in the future. But for now, this has been North Platte in a nutshell. I'm Jerome.
I'm Ginger.
This is Cassie. Thank you so much. You can reach out to us if you have any show ideas or you want to be on the show or you have any comments or anything like that at npnutshell@gmail.com. You can also get a hold of us on our social media platforms on Facebook and also on Instagram at npnutshell.